probably one of the most recognized aircrafts, at least in the United States, if not most of the world. Even if people don't associate it with the Vietnam War, they recognize a Huey.
I enjoy hovering the aircraft. Bringing it up off the ground into a hover is always quite refreshing. Banking it and doing some descents, and it's always a thrill to shoot an approach to landing. Just flying 309 is it's a joy.
I thought it was going to be a lot of work and blood, sweat, tears, and feuds. Nobody talking to one another for a month at a time. No, I knew it was going to be I knew it was going to be a handful, you know. The night we finally painted the United States Army and the tail number on it, you know, we took the stencils off, and it was late at night. We were all hollering, "It's alive, it's alive." And so anyways, yeah, that's when it started to hit you going, holy Toledo, you know, what have we done? Prior to that, it was just a whole hangar full of parts laying all over the, you know, place. Parts to be painted, parts to be prepped, parts to be repaired, parts to be primed, parts to be color-coded, stuff laying all over. And then once it started taking shape and once we got it painted and started putting the stencils on, then you went, this is turning into something, you know? January was the start of our 8th year, and the thing hasn't conked out on us anywhere we've gone. You know, it's really unusual for a helicopter of A, that size, and B, that period, that vintage. So it's been a good bird. It's been a good bird. We've been really lucky. Yeah.
A twin-engine bomber in World War II, the Douglas A-20 Havoc, was built in about the same numbers as Huey's, and there are no flyable versions of it left on the planet because nobody did what Peter and I did, which was to say, hey, why don't we keep one? So the goal is preserve it, fly it enough for people to see it, sort of propagate the history of the war and the people who fought it in these helicopters, and then I'm enlisting my son, who's taken an interest, in friends that are younger, so that after I'm dead and Peter's dead, this thing will move ahead on its own. That's the idea.
Well, one of the things that I'm trying really hard to do in terms of preserving the project into the future is trying to have a very broad understanding and ability to work with the project. Public relations type of stuff, trying to work hand in hand with Peter on the maintenance and also learning how to fly, and as well as getting a lot of history from all of them and trying to get everything I can from them and remember as much as possible so that I can make the connection that we have now when they're not able to go to air shows or to events in the future, that I can bring as much of them with me as possible.
In 10 years, I'd like to see the project be at least 2 aircraft, 309, an H model Slick, which was a troop carrier, and a second aircraft, either a Charlie model or an M model, as a gunship that flew support for our Slicks, so that both versions of the Huey and the way that they were used in the 135th Assault Helicopter Company is represented. We would like to restore the Mike model as a helicopter that we called American Woman. It was a gunship with rocket pods on the outside. So I would like to see us have a brick and mortar museum, 2 aircraft, a trained cadre of pilots and crew, and that we become known as a place where anybody who served as a crew member in an assault helicopter company in Vietnam, or is family surviving somebody who served in a helicopter company in Vietnam, who heard stories all their lives, can come and experience that and be educated about that. And even go home with some souvenirs if they want.
So Don, what's it like to be visiting old friends?
Oh, I think it's wonderful. I think it's fantastic. And I will always remember my crew chief, Jeff, when we were sat down in between between combat assaults where we took the troops and deposited them and we were waiting to get picked up. Jeff was always looking at the helicopter, checking out the chip detector, checking out everything on that helicopter to make sure it was flyable again. And I was very proud to have him as my crew chief when I flew.
Did he often remind you that it was his aircraft?
No,
when it broke, he was more than willing to make it my aircraft. When it was flying good, it was his aircraft.
Well, last time we showed up at the last open house, we were really impressed with the way we were received, the way we were treated, just how nice everybody was to us.
We can fix that.
The idea that you guys are keeping the memory of the Huey alive and presenting people with the options to do what we used to do every day. So before we all went our separate ways, because there's one other guy who was with us. I'm from Fresno, he's from Modesto, he's from Livermore, and we had one other guy from San Diego here, and we all flew in the 48th Saw Helicopter Company about the same time. We decided before we left that we wanted to try to do something to show our appreciation for what you guys are doing, not only for us, but for other veterans and the general public.
I want to present this plaque to you, the EMU, on behalf of the 48th Assault Helicopter Company. We just want to let you know how much we appreciate getting another chance to go up in a Huey. It's been 40 years for me, and I'm sure a lot of both these guys as well. So thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the hospitality. Thanks for just spending all that time and trouble making that thing.
Oh, that
Getting that thing together.
I thought you were going to do it, John. Well, okay. Thank you for your kind thoughts.
Thank you.
And let me see. Thank you. You spelled thanks wrong. No, it's fine.
It's upside down.
That's great. Yeah, very nice. Very nice. And that's one of your patches. Cool.
That's our patch.
Well, now since we're trying to do this museum thing,
Right.
Wayne, we have something to put in the museum now. Well, actually, it's important because the purpose of the museum is to not have art, because we've got a lot of that. And our first goal was to do the 135th, but we realized as we did it, the history of all assault helicopter companies is fading and needs to be preserved, and that's exactly what we want with patch and everything. So, well, thank you very much.
There it is,
Thank you,
folks.
Thank you. That was very nice. Thanks so much.
Tony.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. You're Modesto?
Hi, my name's Kim Larson. I actually rode in this helicopter the other day. Very unique experience. Where I came from was I was in the Vietnam War, first cav, 67, 68, and we were the air mobile unit. So I was a infantry medic and spent a lot of time in these. Not as much as a pilot or a gunner or something like that, but spent a lot of time in choppers. Also, still struggling with the war after 45 years. So it was quite a unique blessing to be able to come and take a 12-minute ride to and from, so 24-minute ride in a helicopter after 45 years. I can tell you, it was one of the more moving experiences of a 65-year-old's life. It was like getting in a bicycle and riding a bicycle and all that, and then all the emotion and memories of 45 years ago. Started remembering things and recalling things that I hadn't thought about for a long time. And so the helicopter ride was very, very moving. When we landed, after 12 minutes, when we took off, thought I was, I am A-okay, but I thought I was, just, it was no big deal. And then when we landed at our destination, I got very emotional and was on the verge of crying. Could I say everything that was pushing that or driving me wanting to cry? I have no idea. That I can tell you exactly it was this, but I know there was a lot of sadness showing up, a lot of familiarity, and like I said, just remembering those old days. And my sense was, and Wayne and I talked and before, and he said, you know, this might be a moving experience, and he was right. I was moved. I believe I was so moved, and I've done. I have post-traumatic stress. I've been in groups and therapy for 25, 30 years. I know a lot about PTSD, and I know a lot about when things shift. And I can tell you this: that something shifted. As I'm standing here now, I can still. There's still like some sort of like little sadness that I can sense being here today. And you know, I think it would behoove the VA to explore having old vets take rides in helicopters, and maybe something will shift for them. You know, I can tell you who I was when I took the ride, before I took the ride, and after the ride is a different person. The next 2 days I was extremely tired and really wasn't interested in seeing or doing anything, but these last few days I've been very energized and more calm, for lack of a any other word I could use. Yeah, there's something more relaxed about me. Maybe some on-off switch got turned off. Because the ride was like a form of completion, and I love these babies. They saved many lives. They got me in and out of trouble at times. So great experience, and I want to thank EMU for for allowing me to be a guest and taking part in there. And I recommend to anybody that's ever spent any time in and around helicopters, come talk to these guys and become part of their program, which is what I'm going to do. And it's really a hoot. So thanks.